You were taught that gratitude means acceptance. Be thankful for what you have. Settle your nerves. Lower your expectations. That belief sounds gentle and civilized. It also quietly keeps you weak. A person who mistakes gratitude for passivity never learns how to convert emotion into leverage. They get calm without getting control. They confuse relief with power. Gratitude as it is sold to you is a sedative. Gratitude as it actually works is a targeting system. The first keeps you compliant. The second lets you shape how your nervous system interprets reality, so you can act with precision. The distinction matters. If you miss it, you will keep congratulating yourself for a warm feeling while your life stays where it is. Here is the part you were not told. Your brain is not a camera. It is a prediction engine. It does not record reality. It generates a controlled hallucination and updates it when forced. Kahneman and Tversky mapped how your attention and memory distort what you see. The predictive coding model in neuroscience explains it more bluntly. Your brain guesses what is out there, then asks your senses to confirm it. The guess is shaped by habit and emotion. Change the guess. Change what you notice. Change what you notice. Change the options that appear. This is what people mean, without precision, when they say reality is malleable. Gratitude has influence here, not because the universe cares about your mood, but because your attentional system does. When you deliberately catalog what is working, what is available, and what already moved in your favor, you bias the brain to search for more of it. This is not mystical. It is a shift in salience. The anterior cingulate and the prefrontal cortex weigh what to amplify. You can train what they treat as signal and what they suppress as noise. That is the operational value of gratitude. It is selection pressure on perception. Notice the contrast. There are two paths. On one path, gratitude is used to settle. You list 3 nice things, you feel safe, then you go back to sleep. On the other path, gratitude is used to aim. You list 3 leverage points, you feel resourceful, then you act with greater accuracy. The first is a ritual for comfort. The second is a ritual for control. Most people were trained to want the first. They were not told the second existed. Institutions prefer citizens who are predictable. Predictability relies on stable emotional loops. Schools teach the language of gratitude as politeness, not as strategy. Governments praise contentment because content people consume, vote, and obey without friction. You were taught to be thankful in a way that does not change what you are willing to attempt. That is not an accident. Incentives shape narratives. It is easier to manage a population who looks down and smiles than a population who looks up and calculates. This does not require conspiracy. It only requires incentives. Machiavelli warned that a prince should appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, and religious. Appear is the key word. People follow symbols, not chain of custody logic. If public rituals of gratitude keep the collective docile, leaders will encourage them. If private gratitude used as a cognitive tool makes individuals sharper, that tool will be left out of the curriculum. You were taught the portion that reduces volatility. You were not taught the portion that increases agency. The ancient Stoics had a cleaner approach. Marcus Aurelius practiced what he called a view from above. He zoomed out to see causes and conditions without emotional fog. Epictetus split the world into 2 categories: what is up to you and what is not. Gratitude fit inside that frame. Be thankful for tools you can use. Be indifferent to what you cannot move. Seneca wrote that no wind is favorable to the sailor who does not know where to go. Gratitude, properly aimed, is the act of identifying usable wind. It is not a command to stop sailing. This is how the psychology works. Your state drives your attention. Your attention drives your options. Your options drive your behavior. Your behavior drives your outcomes. Gratitude can intervene at the state level. There is consistent evidence that gratitude practices reduce amygdala reactivity. increase parasympathetic tone, and open prefrontal control. Less noise, more signal. With less noise, you can process threat without exaggeration. With more signal, you can discriminate between immediate danger and chronic anxiety. This is not soft. It is tactical. A calm nervous system allocates cognition where it matters. That produces a different life. Now the uncomfortable part. People use suffering as identity. They would rather be right about how hard their life is than be free of the story. Gratitude threatens that identity. If you start recognizing assets, advantages, and progress, you lose excuses that give you belonging. You will have to trade the drama of struggle for the quiet of competence. Many will not make that trade. They are attached to being seen as fighters more than they are attached to winning. That is why this information is safe to speak. Most will hear it, then choose a familiar cage. Hedonic adaptation is real. Progress rapidly becomes normal and invisible. You have seen this in your own life. The raise stops feeling like a raise. The relationship stops feeling like a win. The new city stops feeling new. Gratitude, used correctly, slows adaptation to your gains so that your behavior continues to be reinforced. If you do not slow adaptation, your drive will collapse into restlessness. You will chase more for the feeling of more, not for strategic ends. If you do slow adaptation, you build a stable feedback loop. Progress remains noticeable, so effort stays rationally energized. A second layer. Operant conditioning applies to you as much as to lab animals. Most people reinforce outcomes. They celebrate results they cannot fully control. That builds superstition and burnout. The narrow move is to reinforce behaviors that match your aim, regardless of immediate result. You train your nervous system to enjoy correct process. Gratitude is the reinforcement. You mark and appreciate when you matched your standard. Your brain learns to repeat the sequence that leads to long-term results. It is Skinner, but done on yourself with consent and clarity. There is also learned helplessness. Repeated exposure to unsolvable problems convinces animals and people that actions do not matter. You were bathed in messages that your vote does not count. The game is rigged. The rich always win. Luck decides most outcomes. Some of that is statistically true in the short term. Most of it is fatalistic when applied to your day. Gratitude can interrupt learned helplessness by forcing your mind to tally cause and effect that favored you. Times where effort moved variables. Times where a decision enhanced probability. Your hippocampus records these links and retrieves them when you face a new task. Agency is learned, so is surrender. You choose which memory traces you rehearse. Another layer. Cognitive dissonance is the tension between belief and behavior. People resolve it by changing belief to match behavior. You can reverse it. State a belief that you are a person who notices leverage, who extracts value from what others ignore, who treats gifts as responsibilities. Then behave in small ways that match it. Each act reduces dissonance. Your brain shifts identity toward the stated belief. Gratitude serves as the daily proof. You notice, record, and use what you have. Over time, you either become the person you claim to be, or the discomfort becomes unbearable, and you revert. There is no middle ground that lasts. Now we set a harder contrast. There are two types of gratitude, decorative and operational. Decorative gratitude sounds good in a caption. It signals virtue. It is public and cheap. Operational gratitude does not need an audience. It is private and specific. It is not a list of generic blessings. It is an audit of assets that can be deployed. Skills, contacts, information, time, location, small advantages. It is also an audit of constraints that increase clarity. Scarcity can be useful because it narrows choice. You thank reality for the boundary because it saves computational load. Then you use that saved energy to act. The government, your school, your job, your culture, all teach decorative gratitude. It reduces noise in the herd. It eases envy and protest. It keeps attention inward and quiet. Operational gratitude is harder to sell because it creates asymmetry. Some people get sharper, faster, and harder to manage. That does not scale, so it remains unsaid. It sits in the open, but it is not emphasized. If you adopt it, you exit the default track. This is where the phrase reality manipulation becomes practical. You cannot control the external world in total. You can control which variables your system weights. You can control your physiological baseline. You can control the stories you allow to run unexamined. From that position, you can nudge probability in your favor. A small improvement in detection of opportunity, repeated, compounds into visible separation over years. Most people demand drama. They want a lottery event. Mastery is built on 1% edges that become 10% outcomes that become a life that looks inevitable from the outside. There is a reason propaganda works. Napoleon said that imagination governs the world. He used symbols and narratives to direct mass attention. When attention moves, behavior follows. You cannot outshout a coordinated story. You can refuse to donate your attention to it. Gratitude that is operational weakens the pull of external programming because it occupies working memory with what is directly useful. You cannot be flooded by outrage and focus on leverage at the same time. Selective attention is zero-sum. You choose what runs your processor. The Stoics were explicit. Control is internal first, external second. You can prefer outcomes without worshiping them. You can be thankful for tools without worshiping the toolmaker. That is mental sovereignty. It looks cold to people who want you emotionally available to every cause. It looks disciplined to people who have tried helplessness and got tired of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If something external causes you pain, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." This is not denial. It is jurisdiction. There is also the biology of drive. Dopamine tracks prediction error. It spikes when outcomes exceed expectation. If your expectations float upward with every small win, you build a system that never spikes. If your expectations are anchored by a daily practice that marks gains accurately, your dopamine circuit stays engaged. You experience energy to pursue hard things without needing chaos. Gratitude provides the anchor. You set a baseline, you log deltas, you feel the correct reward. That is sustainable ambition. Now the part that will bother you if you are attached to the soft version. Gratitude is not forgiveness. It is not permission for others to keep treating you badly. It is not a demand that you like your circumstances. It is the sober recognition of what is in reach, then the firm decision to use it. If you thank the sun for rising, then you waste the morning, you performed a ritual of avoidance. If you thank your enemy for revealing a weakness in your plan, then you fix the plan. You performed a ritual of power. Same word, different result. Identity tension accelerates here. You can be a consumer of comfort or a producer of outcomes. You can treat gratitude as a sedative or a stimulant to action. You can be a child who wants to be tucked in or an adult who wants to direct the day. You cannot be both at once for long. If you choose adult, you will lose sympathy. People who light your soft edges will feel challenged. People who feed on group complaints will treat you like a traitor. That is the tax for leaving the default setting. Pay it with a straight face. Part of what kept you small is confusion between acceptance and consent. Acceptance is seeing the world as it is. Consent is approving of it. Stoicism teaches acceptance. Strategy begins after acceptance. Gratitude helps you accept without collapsing. You note what exists. You note what you can use. You note what you will not tolerate. Then you move. People who conflate acceptance with consent never move. They quote wisdom while their situation hardens around them. There is also the utility of being underestimated. Machiavelli advised rulers to keep intentions opaque. You can do the same with your personal aims. Decorative gratitude keeps people calm about who you are. Operational gratitude changes what you do without announcing it. You become more effective in plain sight. You reduce friction. You protect your drive. You continue to appear polite, calm, and grateful. Internally, you are selecting, prioritizing, and executing with less noise. That is power that avoids envy and attack. Historical precedent supports this. Viktor Frankl, in A Place Designed to Erase Agency, wrote that the last human freedom is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. He did not mean to smile at cruelty. He meant to find meaning and leverage where others found only despair, then to act in line with that meaning. Gratitude, in that context, is not a postcard. It is an anchor for sanity. If it works there, it can work anywhere you are likely to be. Now we step into mastery. Reality manipulation at the highest level is the disciplined selection of frames. A frame is a lens that tells you what matters. Most people inherit their frames. Money is evil or good. Authority is sacred or corrupt. Risk is thrilling or scary. You can choose frames that serve outcomes. Gratitude is a frame that says, I pay attention to resources and progress. Starvation is a frame that says, I pay attention to lack and threat. Both reveal true information. One makes you creative. One makes you defensive. You need both in correct ratios. Defensive frames during real threat. Grateful frames during planning and execution. You toggle them by choice, not mood. This is the most important pivot. Gratitude is not a mood. It is a deliberate cognitive action. When you treat it as a mood, you wait for it to arrive. When you treat it as a cognitive action, you schedule it, you attach it to triggers, you use it to stabilize perception. You do not need to feel thankful to act thankful. You act thankful to feel clear. That inversion changes everything. The mechanics are simple, not easy. At the start or end of a day, write down what became available that was not available before. Write down which constraints removed distraction. Write down where effort moved a variable. Then ask how these can be used to hit your next target. Keep it specific. Keep it free of performance for others. Watch how your attention shifts over a month. You will notice chances to move that you previously ignored. You will see patterns where you used to see chaos. The world did not change. Your selection function did. There is a strategic side effect. When you bias attention toward assets, you reduce envy. Envy is attention on what others have that you want. It drains energy and distorts judgment. Gratitude redirects this attention toward what you can deploy. That does not make you soft. It makes you less distractible. You do not cheer your rivals. You do not waste time hating them. You mine your own ground until you find ore. Then you use it. There is a moral objection people raise. If everyone used gratitude to get sharper, would society become colder? The answer is different. If everyone used it, we would have fewer people demanding rescue for problems they can alter. We would still care. We would just express care as competence, not as performance. Stoicism is not nihilism. It is hierarchy of action. Care first for what is in reach. Expand reach. Repeat. The world improves fastest when individuals become reliable units. This message is not popular because it is not entertaining. It is quiet and exact. It rewards thought and repetition. It starves drama. That makes it powerful. The part of you that is tired will resist. The part of you that is ambitious will relax. You finally have a tool that does not depend on anyone's permission. Use it, and you will start to feel a distance from the crowd. That distance is the price of clarity. It is also the space in which you can build without interruption. You were told gratitude is about feeling good. The part you were not told is that gratitude is about seeing straight. You were told reality is fixed. The part you were not told is that your model of reality is adjustable. You were told that acceptance ends the fight. The part you were not told is that acceptance begins the plan. You can keep the soft version and get soft results. Or you can take the precise version and get precise results. You will be tempted to share this. Do not. Test it first. 3 weeks. Private. No announcements. Let your nervous system re-weight what it tracks. See if your days feel heavier or lighter. See if your moves get cleaner. If they do, keep going. If they do not, you lost nothing. You will be one of the few who tested instead of tweeting. That alone puts you in a smaller group than you think. Most will not cross this line. They will keep gratitude as decoration. They will call it positive energy. They will demand miracles from a ritual that was never built for miracles. They will age into softer rationalizations. You do not need to argue. You do not need to convert anyone. You only need to stop lying to yourself about what works. This is the exit. Treat gratitude as an instrument. Use it to aim your attention, stabilize your state, and reinforce the processes that move you. Use it to shrink helplessness and expand agency. Use it to notice the parts of reality you can manipulate without permission. The systems that prefer you calm and compliant will not help you with this. They never have. That is why you heard this here. If you understand, you are now part of the selective minority. Not because you listened, but because you will act quietly, consistently, without applause. You will see what others do not see because they were trained not to look. You will move where others freeze because they were trained to wait. This is not about being special. It is about being accurate. Accuracy compounds. Do the next accurate thing. Then do it again tomorrow.